Sean Michael Butler.
Whole government.
Thank you for pulling up.
Dang, tell my whole shit.
You have an interesting way of spelling your middle name. Do you
It
know?
was Mikael.
See, that's how much I know about my manager. Mikhail. What does
Get it right.
What does Mikhail mean?
I have no clue, honestly.
Okay. Okay. I like this is very. I've never seen it spelled like that because clearly it's not Michael like I thought it was.
Yeah.
It's Mikhail.
Mikael.
So
But it has the accent on top of it.
Beyonce Mark.
There you go. The Beyonce of middle names.
The Beyonce middle name. I'm happy you're joining us today, man.
Well, thanks for having me. This is nervous a little bit. I don't know what you're gonna ask me. I see everybody else on here, but this is a little different. I got you two, a little more personable.
We appreciate you pulling up to the Past podcast.
I have no choice. It's here in my office.
All the way from that desk.
We appreciate y'all having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, you know, bro. We cleared your busy schedule, you know? We really appreciate it.
We're going to
man.
have some fun.
So where does your path begin? For those who don't know you, actually a better way to start. For those who don't know exactly who you are, why we would be interviewed in the first place, what is your title in the industry?
Well, I'm considered a manager and producer. So I represent writers, actors, directors, and also produce TV, film, and podcasts. So I would say, yeah, just a exec.
Overall
A Hollywood exec.
You know,
Plug IG.
I was wondering. I said, how did he get this handle? This is like the perfect Instagram handle.
Yeah.
It was actually
How long have you had it?
Well, when did Instagram come out? 2012?
Ish.
Ish.
2010, 2012.
So that
in
was a
window.
nickname in college. My teammates used to, because when I was playing football, I was already interning. So I started interning early. So I was already interning for Scott Rudin.
Who's Scott Rudin?
Scott Rudin, the producer who produced movies such as like Beetlejuice, Stepford Wives, Royal Tenenbaums, Shaft.
Small names.
He won the Oscar for No Country for Old Men.
Which is one of my favorite movies, by the way.
Thank you.
One of my
Thank you.
favorite
Was there when that happened, so that was a good time.
Wow.
That was a training group. So when I was started interning there, my teammates were like, yo, but my last name Butler's name would call me Butts. They were like, Butts, Hollywood exec, okay. And that kind of like when Instagram came out, I was like, Hollywood. And I couldn't spell out the whole exec to be honest. So I was like, EXCC. And then I just
That's fire.
Now y'all
and
know
I never
it's
knew
Instagram.
10 years or whatever later, people would like DM me to pay for the name or all those. So I'm just like, I just thought it was like a regular funny name.
What's the price on Hollywood exec to let it go?
No price.
No price.
No price. Ownership is key.
I hear that. Somebody drop $1 million. DM me, I'll convince him. To like,
His
so,
cut.
we got $1 million on the table for Hollywood exec. You better. No, that's funny. You're a Philly ball, right?
Yeah, I'm a young bull from Philly, North Philly, uptown, some people may call it.
Okay. How'd you get from Philly to Hollywood?
Well,
Heck of a question.
that's crazy. Born in Philly, mom married, we moved around, dad was military. He ended up retiring, then we moved around in Maryland. So I went through middle school, through high school in Maryland. Started playing football. I was playing football younger, but I never played recreational football because I grew up Jewish. Okay. So Saturday was a Shabbat. So it was nothing that I could never play on recreational.
Is it like the Sabbath?
The Sabbath.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
so
okay.
Saturday. So could never play on a Saturday because I was always at the temple. And then finally, I would play just around the way. And it got back to my mom like, yo, Sean can play. My mom like, oh, really? And then I finally just made a choice to play football. I was like, Mom, I can't do this religion stuff no more. I need to find out. I need to do me. So started playing football. She finally, caught the memo. And then that took me to prep school in Virginia. And honestly, I wasn't even thinking about Hollywood. I was going to be a lawyer, maybe go to school down south, play football, end up injuring myself like my senior year.
Okay.
Was supposed to go to Penn State. That didn't happen because of my knee.
These y'all colors, right? That's
Yeah, I'm still a fan. Even though they ain't near. And then we had a roundabout, like a combine. Because at this point I was injured. Senior year, I was like, okay, I'm not going to school. I'm in this prep school. What I'm going to do? And my coach was like, shout out to Coach Sullivan. He just was like, so you want to sit in your room and feel fucking sorry for yourself? And I was like, he always said that to us. And I'm like, nah. He's like, so what are you going to do? I'm like, what you mean? He's like, you're going to get your ass in shape. You're going to go to training. You're going to do this combine. It's going to work out. So at that point, I'm just like, all right, let me just listen to Coach Sully. You know what I mean? Get my mind right. And I did it. And then the coach, Coach Salgado, came up to me. He was like, hey, love to have you come up at Hofstra. I didn't know what Hofstra was. I was looking at Virginia. I was looking at the time, I was looking at JMU, University of Richmond, like schools like that. So I went up to Hofstra, and I almost died because me being a college student, I went out the night before. Got up that next morning, driving my mom, just me and her. She had rented a car, and woke up and hit the bus, like a Greyhound bus. Boom.
Damn.
Took me off 95. I was worried. My mom was in the passenger. She could have died. So my mom, like, you know, of course, you know, black mom. What the hell you doing, nigga? That's why he actually went out. Traded cars, got up to Hofstra. Long story short, got up there. You know, he's talking back and forth with me. And he pretty much offered me to come there. And he's like, listen, we'll love to have you on the team. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So he's like, let me use the bathroom. He left. So I turned to my mom. I'm like, did he just offer to come you Hofstra? I'm like, yeah. I was like, well, what about, you know, West Virginia? She looked at me and she grabbed me. I was about to say the word. She was like, nigga, you almost killed me. When he get back in this room, you better take the goddamn offer. So when he came in, he's like, so what you think? I said, I would love to be a flying Dutchman. That's how I ended up at Hofstra. It was not on my radar, but it ended up turning into, like, you know, the best 4 years of my life. And then that's kind of what got me into Hollywood, because I was an international business major. I was studying to be import, exports, trading, all that stuff. And one day I took an acting class just because I had to get an elective. Took an acting class, and the teacher was just like, hey, can you see me at the class? I was like, yeah. So she pulled me in class. She was like, listen, I want you to audition for this play. And I'm like, nah, sis, I play football. I couldn't do that. You know, football player, right? You know what I mean? Right. And she's like, listen, I'll give you extra credit. If you come audition, give you extra credit. If you book it, I give you more credit. So I was like, at this point, because I was only going to class, I was like, okay. Yeah. Went in. It was a play called Rough to Radio 2, Edgar Allan Poe. So went in, didn't think I booked it. I just like, let me just go and get this quick little, I don't know, I think it was like 3 points or 5 points she was giving me. She called me for like 2 weeks. I didn't pick up. I'm like, why she keep calling me? Like, you know what I mean? So finally, she was like, where are you? Did you look at the list? I said, what list? She like, who made the play? I said, why would I look at the list if I know I ain't make it? I'm like, why would I do that? So she like, go down to Dempster Hall and look. So I go to Dempster Hall, like our big TV studio. Went down there, my name was on the list. I said, this fucking bitch. She knew what she was doing. So I did this play called Rough to Radio. Did well, was in the Black Box Theater. And then that turned into me doing the musicals, doing other plays at Hofstra. And then I was like, oh, maybe this is what I need to be doing. So I switched my major to business, TV, and film. So I was like still kind of getting that background, but like taking acting classes and stuff like that. And so this one girl named Elizabeth Barnes, she's a casting director now. She was like, hey, Sean, you ever thought about working behind the scenes? And at this point, I'm like, I'm a thespian. I look like working behind the scenes. Like, did you not see the play I was the lead in? Like, what is wrong with this bitch? So, so, you know, I was like, regained myself. Sure. What? And so she was like, well, I'm leaving this producer to go work in this casting office, and I need someone to take my place. Do you want it? So I was like, oh, who's the producer? She was like, oh, it's Scott Rudin. I said, who the fuck is Rudin? And she's like, Sean, you're an actor. You don't know who Scott Rudin is. I was like, no. Right. So I looked him up, and I was like, oh, snap. This dude do Beetlejuice. You know, I was naming everything. I was seeing what I researched. So I was like, I'm going to resume. Like, you know, I'm a freshman in college. So she was like, I got you. So she helped me with a little resume, which was nothing on there. And she got me an interview. I ended up getting to the city. I had to meet this woman named Maureen Battaglione from Brooklyn, Jewish. She talked like she smoked a pack of cigarettes a day. She's like, Sean, how are ya? So walked in. As soon as I stepped in, she was like, hold on. And you see a computer fly across the room. And I'm like, "True." And she's like, hold on. And all you hear, I just hear a guy, get the F out. Everyone get out now. So you just see everybody run out of the office. So she still got me against the wall. And I'm like, what is going on? So she go, okay, coast is clear. Let's go. So we walk back to her little office. She takes me to the back. And then she's like, oh, you still want to work here? And I'm like, yeah, this place seems like it's popping. So she, of course, asked me the typical questions like, do you know who he is? So I did my research. I said, yeah, I know who he is. I named the movies. So she's like, when can you start? And I was like, again, they don't teach you. I'm a freshman, so I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I can start tomorrow. Because we off season at this point.
Right.
She's like, great. Next thing I know, that turned into 4 years. And 4 years and then also becoming an assistant for another year and a half. But during that time, I was an extern. So I met Scott probably my first year. I didn't see him at all. I didn't know what the dude looked like. Second year, back in the day, you had to bind scripts where it's like you take a mallet, the little gold little nuggets, and you got to hammer scripts together. And he had a take-home box. So each day they go, okay, Sean, here are the scripts that Rutan needs to take home. And so my job was to make sure those scripts were in that box at a certain time. That's all hell break loose. So I was binding the scripts, and someone came into the back, like kitchen, and because the kitchen was part of the script library. And he was just like, at this point, the person was like, can you please leave the kitchen? I didn't look up. I was like, well, about that, no, because I got to get this in Mr. Rutan's take-home box in like 10 minutes. So I can't. That person didn't say nothing, walk out. I get called to Marine's office. And she's like, yo, Scott wants to see you. And I'm like, Scott wants to see me. So I go in the office. First time I ever seen this dude. And I'm like, oh, this is Scott. He's like a real Jew. Like bald head, glasses, beard, like just typical. Like I didn't, I was picturing him a whole nother way of looking. So he just was like, no one ever talked to me like that, the typical stuff. I said, listen, I'm about my job. I'm new to this.
So he was the guy that walked in the kitchen?
Yes.
Okay.
And so he was like, listen, well, I like that you stood up to me. He's oftentimes in this industry, people are afraid. And he said, that pretty much ticks me off. You shouldn't have to walk on eggshells in the industry that you work in when you're an artist. And he was like, what do you want to do? I was like, well, playing ball. I was an actor, but I'm like, oh, I've been in for a year. I'm like, kind of like what you're doing. So he was like, all right, I want you to sit up front every day, pay you something. I turned to an extern. They was paying for my everything, car and everything. And then just learn from there. So I sat up the front. So every day he was the person that came in. He actually gave me my first laptop. He was like, oh, you need a laptop? I'm like, yeah. He's like, check in the room over there. I'm sure something not broke. Cause he's like,
Throwing laptops.
throwing laptops and stuff. So, so I ended up working for Scott for 4 years. And during that time, it was like I just got the first hand into what is producing. I didn't know what producing was. So he was a very hands-on producer. So when it came to like casting to, from script to the development to script to licensing, IP, who the person to sell to, who are the right execs to sell to. Because, when you look at Paramount, or just for example, when the years I was with him, he was with Disney, Paramount, and Sony. So he was a studio producer at that point. So pretty much that was like my extension into Hollywood was get an internship with Scott and then just pretty much learn the business from there. I mean, I've learned, again, casting, who in what production, like who does what job. Like, because you come as an actor in college, I knew business, I knew how to do that stuff, but when it came to like the actual industry, it was a very different level. And also I laugh because people think about There Was Prada, right? And when she goes like, oh, you gotta know every person in this book, right? Back then, that was the thing. That was the thing on the job description was must know the players, like in big letters. If you don't know who the players are, then it's like you're not good at the job, So that was one of the things that I taught myself every day was I probably watched every single movie. I studied IMDb. I studied all the trades because I had to go name the face.
What year was this?
To the early set, so 03 to 07 and then going up to 09.
Okay, please continue. So,
and this is when they had a book called, it was like Industry Intel. It was a book. The book was like $300 subscription, but every year they sent you a brand new book like this thick. And it was every studio, manager, agent, email, like, so I would study those books at Scott's office because he would have all the books from, and it was every edition, 2005, 2006. And, you know, in this industry, people change jobs all the time. So I would just study those books. So when it came to meetings and Scott would say something, I knew who that person was. Or if we go to an event, I go, oh, that's so-and-so from so, that's a wife. Like, that was my job, you know. And then Scott got into Broadway, so that was another thing I learned. You know, he did Doubt, which ended up turning into a movie. So got a lot to learn about how to produce Broadway shows with him. So it was just like a very hard crash course. Trust me, he wasn't the easiest guy to work for. I mean, obviously, if you hear all the stories about him, but like, one thing I would say he taught me was, you know, how to have thick skin. You know, right out. Because he, you know, he kind of said it without saying that. He was like, you're going to be an anomaly in this industry. Where I took it as you're going to be a lot of only black in this world. And you got to know how. You got to, one, know the most things out of everybody in the room, be 10 steps ahead, and also know how to take a punch. Which means you can't take things personally because someone says so to you. So that was a very, for me, early crash course. And then from there, you know, I kind of just made my way of like, okay, what do I want to do? You know, so it was like, oh, okay. The first caster I ever met was Evie Kaufman. She, you know, she
Big
did,
dog.
yeah, she did Stop Loss with Kimberly Pierce. Kimberly Pierce directed Boys Don't Cry. So it was like Scott, Kimberly Pierce, Evie Kaufman. I'm in the room taking notes in the back. And, you know, that's kind of how I started like, oh, what does casting do? So I ended up getting a job as a casting producer at MTV for 3.5 years. So I did that. And then I was like, oh, well, what does development do? So I got into development. So then that's kind of all led me to like figuring out, one, I want to learn every aspect of the industry. Like you can't work in the industry where you don't know your job or this person. It's almost like football, right? I looked at it as football. The quarterback got to know everyone's position. The running back, I got to know everyone's plays. As a running back, I got to know, okay, this receiver's going on the post. This one's going to corner route. This one's going to do slant. I'm the last check down. Oh, I know the two centers are going for the linebacker. The tackle is taking the D ends. So that much means I got to take if they're going to blitz or I'm going to go out for a flat. That's how I play the industry. I had to know everyone's position, what they do, why they do it, and how they do it. How can I be better than them? That's the competitive edge, right? So that was my entry point of just learning how to be better, because then I started wanting to get into talent agency because, you know, they don't teach black kids that want to get into the industry, you should start at an agency. I didn't know what I just knew AV, I'd start, okay, CAA, I start kind of knowing agencies, but when I got into the thick of it, working at a corporate level in different production companies, I was like, oh, I like working with talent. So that was hard. I couldn't get in for nothing. Like I couldn't get into any agency for nothing. And I probably
What position were you applying for? As an agent, as an assistant? Okay.
Just an assistant, because you know they don't believe in just bring you in as an agent.
Right. That's what I was
You gotta
like.
start from the bottom up.
Right.
So in between jobs, I had started my own company just to do it, and I was working with some actors, which ended up leading
And
me.
you started your own company in what position? As an agency, as a manager?
Manager.
Okay.
As a manager, just testing it out. And this is obviously I'm jumping over a lot of stuff.
Right. It's tough.
So, end up meeting one of my good friends, and I would consider her a mentor, April. She worked at ICM at the time, April King.
Okay.
And April and I had a great conversation, and she just like, hey, send me a resume. Like, you know, I was like, yeah, well, how do I get it? She's like, send me your resume. Send me a resume. They probably interviewed me for like, it felt like 2-3 hours. And then within a month, I got into the program at ICM, and I was there for like 3 years.
Amazing.
So that's kind of how I got into the agency. But I was, mind you, I got into the agency at age 28, 29.
I would assume that was a testament to what your previous boss told you. Like, he gave you a foreshadowing, essentially, of what you'll have to do in order to succeed, and then bumping into someone like April to see it. Like, you're navigating this and you want to do this, and she'll look around to the left and the right and might not see many of you.
Right.
And say, I want to give you a real shot.
Yeah.
I think.
No, facts. You know, because, you know, working at an agency isn't easy. People think about your eyes and they see, you know, the Ari Gold and like, oh, it's so Hollywood. It's corporate as hell.
Right.
It's very corporate. is not as fun as you think it is. It's a lot of how to play the game.
A lot of politics.
A lot of politics. And also about likability. Do I like you?
Right.
Because they'll smile on your face in the agency and call the phone and be like, terrible. Like, like I've seen it happen plenty of times.
Right.
You know, you'd be like, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you know, so, you know, shout out to April for seeing that. And, you know, I think the uphill was that I was older than a lot of people at the agency. So, you know, once I got in, you know, I'm with all white assistants. They all like 22, 23, 24. And they're like, how'd you get in? How'd you get in? Oh, my dad, my mom. I'm sitting here like, well, first of all, I didn't just graduate college. That was a shocker. I'm like, I probably had like at least 5 or 6 years of experience before I got this. So I actually was starting over. So that was the main thing when interviewing for the job. I was like, are you going to start over? Are you really joining the entity? You know what I mean?
And just for clarity for myself, you approaching the agency was to learn how the industry worked, or did you have a desire at that moment to become an agent?
I desired to become an agent.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to become an agent. So
What about being an agent versus a manager? What was enticing at that time?
Access. You know, I think for a manager to be successful, you got to work at a big agency. You got to know how the mechanism work. The agencies run this industry next to the studios. So that's almost like you got the studio, next to the studio, got the right-hand person, that's the agency. And the wealth of information that comes through there, whether it's writer, director, actor, projects, budgets, like that's where you really learn the inner workings of how the industry works.
Yeah.
And I think a successful manager that comes from that training background only helps you better, because then you gain the access, you gain the relationships, you gain the know-how, and you also gain a lot of contacts. So oftentimes when an agent that's at UTA or CAA transition to analyst content or transition to just a management company in general, they already have a leg up because they have that type of experience, so they can take those contacts and those relationships and the access and use as a manager.
Okay, so as an agent, when it comes to clients and people that you take on, do you find yourself finding your clients by way of like showcases? Do you get in contact with them if you see something you really appreciate on TV, or are you like strictly referral? Like, what is your process as somebody who scouts talent?
For me, it all depends. It depends on how I grew, right? As a young man, as a young just talent, when I worked at agencies, it was always showcase. Got better. Okay, now I'm a little more picky. Okay, now referrals. You know, if an agent hit me up or a studio exec hit me up, I take those better because I'm trusting that my peers want to send me someone that I can help sell, that has some notoriety. You know, don't get me wrong, I still love an underdog. I'm not to say it that way, but underdog mean like fresh. I saw this person to play, or hey, saw this person, he had like 3 scenes, but he was dynamic when I was watching the other 2. The guy who don't have the most scenes on the show, who played the best friends in league, to me is the best actor. Like, he's so great.
You like a scene stealer.
Yeah, he's a scene stealer. Like, every scene is just natural, fun, and just, it's effortless. You know what I mean? So, for me, nothing's off the table when it comes to looking at talent. At the end of the day, it's about, I already know you can act. I already know I can sell you. Who are you as a person?
Right.
That's the most important part for me, because no one in this industry want to work with an asshole. So, like, there's a lot of talented people in this industry, but the reason they don't get a job is because the execs are like, I want to work with them. You know what I mean? So, oftentimes for me, and even just for Cultivate, you know, we definitely look at who the person is. You know what I mean? We definitely believe in second chances, but like, you have to be genuine enough for us to want to work with you, because selling talent is one thing. I have to sell you as a person. You know what I mean? I have to sell you as, this person will be great on set. This person is going to be a person that you can write to in the house. That's what execs and producers want to know. Then they's like, yo, that's the best call. Yo, I love working with Christian. You know, he was amazing. He's super charming. Like, I definitely want to keep working with him.
With Cultivate Entertainment being your baby, your brainchild, you know, with you and your partners here, you being the president of your own management company. First of all, salute to that. A black man owning a production and management company in Hollywood, you have to super duper respect that.
Thank you.
What are all the arms and legs of Cultivate? What do y'all specialize in? What do you love to do? what do you hate to do but do it anyway?
I mean, Cultivate is cultivation. You know, it's all about bringing people together. You know, we started a company to serve underdeserved voices. So anywhere between the Black and Brown community to the Latinx community to LGBTQ plus, and then to our international brothers and sisters. Like Patrick was a co-founder. He's from Norway, so we first initially met. You know, he wanted to bridge a gap between Scandinavia and Hollywood because there's a lot of great talent in Scandinavia. There's a lot of great, you know, IP out there. So how do we also bridge that gap? So we had the same notion of kind of what we wanted to do. So the legs is, you know, like I said, we represent writers, you know, from show creators to showrunners to staff writers. And then we have actors, which is an amazing list of actors we have. And then also on the production side, we produce and develop. A lot of times with our clients too, but also we do stuff outside the client. So it's really about putting faces and voices on the screen that, you know, we don't see.
What project are you most proud of that y'all have been a part of?
All the Smoke for one. All the Smoke was, All the Smoke was a really fun experience. You know, Matt and I met, I want to say 2019. Yeah, I think 2019 through Dorothy Canton, who's Mark Canton's daughter. At that time, she was a co-producer on Power. And she was like, how don't you meet my friend? We went to school together. They both went to UCLA. Mm-hmm. And it was Matt. And first I was like, Matt Barnes. You know, we all know Matt. He's bad boy in basketball and stuff like that. And, you know, Matt and I sat down quite a few times and, you know, he wanted to, you know, he had a plan of where he wanted to be. And so, you know, I was like, okay, we got to just know how to change that. So we worked on that. And in the process of that, you know, we talked about the navigation of his career, where we need to go. And he already, you know, obviously from ESPN, he already has this thing of like, oh, people love to listen to him. And so when we put the show together, Stats came in with him. They had, hey, we got this idea. We may want to do this podcast. So, no, we can take the show that we already been developing and switch it to that. So during this time, Matt was like, you know, I think he did something for like Uninterrupted.
Okay. And
it was a producer who ended up being a producer on All the Smoke. Was like, oh, you should talk to Showtime about this. You know, I think they interested in just working with you. And, you know, Matt came back, circled back with me. We had another producer on the time named Ellen Rickerton. Shout out to Ellen. She's exec producer, Red Table Talk, EP, Oprah Winfrey. Like, she's a dope producer.
Small name.
Yeah.
Small name.
Right. So, Ellen, you know, we all came together. I actually flew to New York around this time in 2019. Sat down with the Showtime exec. They was like, listen, you know, I had no clue about a podcast, but we want to do business. So pitched them the show idea. Initially, they didn't want a certain person on the show, but we fought against that. And then when they finally fucking let's just do it, we did the show. I think we shot the promo in September. Not knowing, we didn't know what we were getting into. We just knew Mad Stacks, they had something to say. Bad Boys of NBA, cool. We already knew it was a niche market, okay? And if it gets bigger, great. So we did it, and I think we shot the first episode. It was cool. Episode 0 was just Mad and Stacks. Okay, this is cool. And then we brought on J.R. Smith, right? And that was the first time we talked about that whole debacle in Ohio and stuff like that. And then the numbers went crazy. We just like, oh, we got something here.
That's amazing.
And it just kind of took off. And, you know, obviously Mad and Stacks are still doing an amazing job. But, you know, first season was, I would say that probably what really launched us. You know, we had Kobe Bryant 2 weeks before he passed away, which was sad.
Rest in peace to the Black Mamba,
rest in peace,
man.
It was, that probably was the best experience. I'm thankful, but I would never in a million years say, I would meet Kobe.
Why?
Like, ever. You know what I mean? And, like, he just came out when he was ready. Because he wasn't coming out the whole time we was setting up the shots. So he was just in the back. And then finally he came up, he hit me in my back and shoes. Like, hey, y'all ready? I was like,
Philly royalty.
right.
NBA royalty.
He just touched my shoulder.
Worldwide.
And it was just cool. Yeah, worldwide. And it was just cool to just sit down, hear him talk, you know, see, even off camera, just see him, Stacks, and Matt just like chop it up. And Matt talk about his son. So it was just, you know, it was a really awesome smoke. I would say I'm the most proud of that project by far because it really launched us to, one, just a whole new direction for the company. But like, it just also launched us as, you know, highbrow producer in the digital space that, you know, podcast wasn't big. Podcast, I would go on record. I would say All Smoke really opened up the door for podcasts.
Okay.
You know, even if you look at the Pivot, if you look at what's his name, I Am Athlete.
Yeah.
Brandon, we talked to Brandon every day. Brandon was like, yo, because we thought I Am Athlete was amazing. Like, because well, at this point, I think we going into COVID, I Am Athlete started to really pick up. And I'm like, yo, Brandon Marshall's dope. You know, so we talked to Brandon quite a few times, getting some tidbit. It was great to kind of really have those conversations with Brandon because it's like we got to tell him what didn't work for us.
Right.
Because we wanted him to win.
You learn from the mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. And,
For
you know, and it was great just to see him take heed to some stuff and it worked for him. And, you know, obviously I Am Athlete became a really great podcast, which then born the Pivot, right? So I would say All the Smoke really opened up the doors for a lot of stuff, at least a lot of sports podcasts for sure.
Yeah, for sure. That's dope that you was a part of that. What do you see for yourself in the next 5 to 10 years? If you have to give yourself a list of maybe 3 milestones that you yet to accomplish, what would you like to see happen in your life?
Wow. Next 5 years?
Sure, let's do 5 instead of 10.
All right. I mean, short term, I guess, right? So next 5 years, probably I would love to. I can't say that because you're on strike. Love to produce a couple books on my brain, you know, that I would love to adapt into a narrative feature.
Right.
Would love to open up more doors for people of color, you know, whether there's a program, where there's an incentive program. You know, I think a lot of it is about etiquette, you know, and also teaching, especially when it comes to like Black industry, young people, because everyone wants to get in, but no one has an idea on how to get in. And I think another issue is social media I feel like it puts a stigma where they gotta be seen to get in, and it's not always the way you have to do it. I think you just put the work in. So, you know, start a program that teaches like industry literacy, if that makes sense, right?
That's really cool.
Industry etiquette.
Yeah, so etiquette, how to present yourself. We at a party. You forget, I'm at a party all the time, okay? I get it, but it's like, it's work. And it's like, there's certain ways to move when you're in those places because you never know who you're going to meet, you know?
You're 100% right. Like, I recall a time, and this is a huge part of the reason that I really, really rock with you, man, because, like, I'm a hustler, so I'm outside, and there was a time, it was like everywhere I went, I just happened to bump into you. And I'm like, Sean be outside, yo. Sean be outside. Every event, every premiere, every screening, I just kept bumping into Sean. And I'm like, see, that's what I'm talking about right there. You gotta be in these places and in these spaces in order to be successful, because you never know who you'll meet. You never know who hand you'll shake.
Yeah.
You never know the opportunity that's right.
And it's hard, trust me. It's hard. You know, you run a business, you work all day. You go to screen. Let me go to screen. Because you never know if you decline a job or what exactly I need to meet. You know, everything is always a cultivation. You know what I mean? Like, how do we cultivate each room? You know,
Right.
Shout out. I mean, I learned how to do that through my boy J-Dot. You know, shout out J-Dot PR when he sees this. But Josiah was the first guy I ever met that.
Innovative.
No, his name is Josiah Hayward. So he
Okay.
owns his own PR company called J-Dot PR.
Okay.
And, you know, at that time, J-Dot was doing a lot. He still does it, fashion PR and stuff like that. So we met. I believe I was at Viacom at the time. And he just was like, "Are you so well? Yeah, I'm going to just show you how the ropes." This was in New York. And I would probably say J-Dot had me out every night of the week. But I just learned watching him and another mentor of mine named Ulysses Carter, who's a publicist. He used to represent Whitney Houston. He runs her estate now. They just took me out. And I learned the players. I learned how to network. I learned how to iceberg. I learned what to drink, not what to drink. How drunk to get at a party. You know, how to keep yourself together. So, you know, I had a really great training in New York. So I think New York definitely prepared me for LA. You know, when you get to LA, your network game got to be on 10. You can't get here and be like, "Oh, I'm not going to go out. Oh." Then you're going to be sitting at home. Oh. You know what I'm saying?
No, for real.
You're going to be sitting at home. You're going to be calling your agent, manager. I don't know what's going on. And like, you gotta know how, that's not through your business.
Fact.
I always tell people, manager is just the president of your company. you the CEO of your LLC. My job is to see your vision and take you there. The kite and the string, right? You're the kite, I'm the string. Sean, I want to do this. Oh, so we gotta go here. Oh, you want it? You gotta go here. So that's all my job. I can't make you do anything else. Only thing I can do is guide you. You know what I mean? So same thing with actors. Like so many times I go out with some clients or just actors I know, and I'll be like, "Did we just typical take a peek?" I'm like, "Oh, Tom told that. You know what that is? No. Well, that's so and so the director. You know what that is? No. That's thinking Tyler Yellow should have like." It's, and maybe because I'm coming from an old school model where I had to learn the faces and the names, but you got to know what place it's almost like read the room. If you're an actor and you're like, oh shit, that's Tim's story. Oh, that's so-and-so. That's like, you should be hitting all these people. Hey, I'm an actor. I just want to say I'm a fan. You know, because you never know who may look at you and be like, I fuck with this guy. This guy was genuinely nice to me.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like that happened to an actress that did a double wife. KJ. Yeah. I met KJ at a party. She was super sweet. I think at the time KJ was on The Fix, and I think she was on Black Family
She was working
Business.
on that. Yep. She was on both of those.
Yeah, and so I just remember being super nice. We hit it off. She ended up living in the same building as a friend of mine's. Mm-hmm. And at the time, we were putting together Double Wife. Where Jamal Hill was directing, was co-writing with Tressa, who's now
shout out to both.
Tressa and them been doing
Killing
it. So yeah, and I remember I was I'm pushing her, and Tressa called me like, "You dating this girl? Like, why you pushing this girl so hard?"
Right.
Because at the time, KJ had invested in PR, and when I met her, she was on every carpet. I'm like, damn, she only like $2 shillings, but her business is like her V score was like just as up as Tika Sumpter or whoever in that world of her, right? So when the actors that we wanted didn't work out, I was like, yo,
go get KJ.
And the main thing I told her, I said, she's gonna be fun on set. She's gonna be a fun person to work with. She's professional. She's been in the game for a long time, and it ended up working. She did an amazing job, and that's how Jarrell got on, right? Because she knew we was asking for a co-star, and she's like, "Oh my God, you should get Jarrell."
Word, I didn't know that.
Yeah, she referred you. That's
hard.
Yeah, and I think and then Jamal knew you because you and Jamal
we did Sins of the Father.
Yeah, so Jamal like, yeah,
and that was my first time as a lead too.
Oh really?
So otherwise, was my second time.
So yeah, so when you got referred, Jamal was like, I know Jarrell, I love Jarrell. He's just worked with you, and so that's how they got put together. And then obviously from there,
it's just crazy how what you're saying.
Yeah,
everything you're saying. It's not just talent. It's not just opportunity. It's also like alignment and visibility in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
So
she knew her business. She knew her brand.
She when it's time for you to invest in PR, it's time for you to invest.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, I didn't know KJ prior to that, but I remember people telling me, "Oh, she's done it for a long time." So I was happy to see that for her, and then I was happy to even be an instrumental part because I didn't know that story before I even met her. I didn't know how long she lived in LA. I had just moved to LA in 2018. She'd been here 10 years prior, I think, before then. You know what I mean? So I didn't know what struggle she went through. So it was just, it's divine grace. Like I always believe that you meet people when you're supposed to meet them.
Yeah.
And some people you meet typical for a lifetime, or you meet them for a season. But I think every person you meet is a reason why the universe is having you, or God having you, and believe having you meet them. You maybe don't know why you meet these people at this time, but there's always a reason. Always a reason.
1,000.
Every single time. Well, major shout out to KJ, and Jamal, and Tressa. But this is my last question, because we could talk forever. If there is somebody out there who does not have a manager, does not have an agent, mm-hmm. What are 3 things that you say they should be looking for in someone that they should feel good about signing with? Because actors have to still trust who it is they're standing with, right?
Yeah.
So what are 3 key traits an actor who's looking for somebody to trust should look for in an agent or a manager?
Well, where's this actor at? I'm like, are they brand new, or they got credits?
Let's say they're watching Paths and they feel like they need to make something shake, but they don't have the right pieces around them, whether they're starting or not. But I still want to see if you can give me some general stuff so that we get as many people in this industry.
Yeah, I mean, I always say get your footing. Like I think a lot of people, if you just talking about if an actor they trying to come to LA to be a big star, get your footing first. Like you gonna move to LA, get your job.
Okay, so let me be more specific there. Let's say this person has their footing, and now they have a decent sized resume, nothing crazy, maybe never even done a lead project or something, but it's been on enough projects to where they're a part of the union, and they are actively working, well, want more. What should they look for?
I think the key word and the problem is want more. Remember, this business is patience. So I would say don't ever think the agent or manager that have got you those credits or got you in certain rooms isn't still working. It's all based on timing. Sometimes we can pitch people for years and they don't get shit. Doesn't mean they're giving up on you. It just mean like your timing is not there. So how do we pivot? Okay, should we look at theater? Should we look at this? Because I always tell actors, I just had a conversation with a client not too long ago where it's like, you was good your last movie. So don't just take something because you feel like you want more and it's a money grab, because I can't sell you up if you're going to do something that's not up to par with where you want to go. I'd rather you go and do theater. I'd rather you go take some time off to do something different while we still work for something bigger. So I would say knowing your brand but being patient, you know what I mean? Before making a swift move, knowing where you want to go, what's your trajectory. And because like I said, it's a kite. We're the string. We only can guide you where you want to go.
Yeah.
I can't tell you where your career is going to land at. Only can say, we do that. It's going to take a harder climb. You know what I mean? And I think when you're looking for representation, I think you should definitely find someone that is relatable. You know what I mean? Like who understands you as a person, because this is a person that is handling your career. One thing is being transactional. Hey, I call my agent, I call my manager, I got a booking. But you want to be able to like, yo, let's grab a drink. Let's go bowling. I just call to shoot the shit. Like I love talking for example, like Curtis, Jamal, I talk to Curtis a lot. Sometimes we just shoot the shit. He'll call me, I got some, and it's just fun. But that's that relationship you want, because you only want that person, that client to win. 'Cause when they win, you win. So definitely like having that ability to have some type of I'm not gonna say friendship. You still want to have a friendship, but a certain level of like, I can trust this person.
Right.
I'll invite this person to my house for dinner. Because that's the first step. You gotta like each other. One thing, transactional don't really work, because even on a rep side, it's so transactional. I'm like, this person gets something paid, so I'm gonna drop it. It happened before, you know what I mean? So, it has to be both ends. And then the third thing is just, knowing when to just be patient, to settle. Don't, like, this is coming out. This show's coming out. Well, I want to get this audition. It's like, bro, you may not even match that audition. You don't even look 21.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like really knowing how to pick and choose the roles, and also listen to your reps. Right. They're not trying to steer you wrong. You know what I mean? And most of them don't try to steer you wrong. So that's the three things I would say.
I
want to take things in a different direction. As a manager, what does your day-to-day look like from the time you walk foot in your office to the time you go home? I'd assume no 2 days are alike. But if you can give a general consensus of what your day-to-day looks like in some capacity, how would you describe it? Like, and I would like detail. Like, are you sending out email pitches? Are you going on lunches? Are you taking phone calls?
Yeah, I have a cube on my desk over there. You see
a cube?
A cube. It's a white cube.
Okay.
Throw it over here.
So I would love to see that cube. Where's the cube? We're clearly in my manager's office. So,
so this cube is my light right there.
Okay.
So if I come in, lady in office at 10, talk to Kate.
Shout out to Kate.
Shout out to Kate. Kate, she's not here right now. I turn this on, 5 minutes. Emails. Go through all my emails. 15 minutes. Okay. Then we'll go through the trades. Read what's in it.
Deadline, Variety, Hollywood Report.
No, we're working. Who moved what job? Can I get a list of who's moving jobs? Okay. Table that. Okay. I'm pitching next hour.
What does pitching look like for you?
So 1 hour be actors. So I'm going to breakdowns. Mostly we do the grids. You know what I mean? Because that's grids of
What's
future
a grid?
projects. Grids are like tracking systems of projects that are possibly, well, not possible, are coming out.
Okay.
So you're not even up on the breakdowns yet. So
Okay.
we get the grids.
So
and I go,
whole other website access you have that shows all of that.
right. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's, oh, the grid. Oh, the Harry Potter series. Oh, Transformer. They may already have a cast director. So let me future pitch. Hey, I'm not sure where you're going right now in these directions, but I would love to put this client on your radar for when you're ready. You know what I mean? Then I may switch to 30 minutes. 30 minutes might be, you know, talking to clients, you know, writers, for example, or reading a script. You know, then go back to the next hour. Okay, and I'm going to go to my writers. Okay, let's see who's head of programming here. Okay, who's hiring writers at this capacity. Talk to a lot of the agents. That's the good thing about agent-manager relationships. You get to really get a lot of information from agents and vice versa. So you do that for an hour, pitching whether it's a new writer or a fresh writer. Then you go back, take a lunch. 15 minutes might be, okay, now I'm on my 15 minute. Okay, I'm going to do development. Okay, what projects that we have in development on this side that we need to get ready? Is it a deck? You know, then there's meetings. That's a whole other thing. So then I have meetings. So then that's another half of my day is meetings and kind of like pitching TV shows or hearing pitches or developing stuff with writers or attaching with writers. So it's like, I would say before the strike, probably close like 5 deals.
Let me get $1, bro. Oh, something.
But yeah, but every day is different as a manager because sometimes I can have a slew of meetings. I'm out at lunch and I'm meeting all these people, or sometimes I can just have a day where I'm like, cool, let me just, you know, go back and forth and then we just pitch clients. And then obviously the team of managers, like Corey, you know, everyone I would say between Corey, Robert, Derek, and Scott. Corey and Robert are hardcore pitchers. I'm proud of that, you know, because when they came on, I was like, hey, I've run this ship like an agency. Yeah, we can still submit, but that's not what's going to get you noticed. And you got to build your relationship with these different offices. Most senior reps, whether manager agents, know having relationships, again, it's important. So I wake up at 8 o'clock, Corey, 30 pitches already. Down line. Robert. Then it's like, okay, we're going to submit. We do, you know, and I think that for us, that's how we win. You know, for us, we're not competing against anyone. You don't need to.
Right.
Our model is you got to outwork it.
Bars.
You know?
The last question I have personally is for a young man or woman that has a desire to become a manager, not even start their own management company, but a desire to become a manager. Would you advise them to take the same path you took as far as internships and working at agencies and things of that nature? And if it's not that path, how would you guide or direct them? If somebody bumped into you like, hey man, just graduated college, I have a desire to be in the talent management space. What real practical advice would you give them?
The first question I'll ask them was what they watch on TV.
Okay.
If they can't name me 10 shows, then they gotta figure that out. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta know what shows, what are you watching? Maybe 5 scripted, maybe 5 unscripted. What podcasts are you listening to? Like, as a manager, you have to know everything.
You gotta keep your finger on the game.
On the game, on the post.
What's moving?
Yeah, you have to. So I would always suggest, you know, getting experience at an agency. Always. I mean, I think because, again, there's so many different departments in agency. You got music department, you got publishing department, you got branding, you got TV, you got motion picture literary, motion picture talent, motion picture, like, it's so many departments. That's the one thing about ICM I learned. I probably shadowed in 5 different departments there. You know what I mean? To unscripted, to TV talent, to motion picture literary, to branding, to even publishing. You know what I mean? So it's like, you have to kind of know, it's good to get that training, because at the end of the day, when you out on your own as a manager, you got to know how to talk. You got to know the players. You can't be a good manager if you don't know the players. It's like,
it's a relationship-based business.
It's like, and no shade against other managers who haven't done that path. So there's still some great managers that still made it work. The luck of the draw, as I call it. But I think if you really want to be someone that's smart and knowing the business, you got to get the training. So I think working at an agency, working in talent at a talent network, like, know what works. That's the only way you're going to be able to sell your client.
Where are they looking for these internships or accesses to be assistants or going to work at it?
Yeah, I mean, you got the UTA job list. You can do that. You have entertainmentcareers.net, LinkedIn. You know, I mean, I think, start as an intern, there's nothing wrong with that. I started as an intern at a few places and we earned the job. It's, you gotta understand everything's temporary. You know what I mean? That person that's assistant today is a VP tomorrow. Yeah, that's how quick this industry works. You know what I mean?
I want to ask one more because this question has resonated in other interviews, and I feel like it's a question I want to just ask every interview for. What is the change that you wish to see in this industry to doing your work?
I would say empathy. Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, empathy. I mean, I think there's a lot of just me, grab. Because again, like that's why we in strike now. Actors living paycheck to paycheck, ladders living paycheck to paycheck. But also before the strike, there wasn't a whole lot of us in the industry. There's a lot of grabs. You maybe have a few people on the writer side that are willing to help, right? They got really like you, right? Actors, same thing. Y'all help each other, but there's still a little bit of competition, right? And I think the moment we can get over that and knowing that we all can eat from the same pot, and if we work together, it's going to be a better motion for the collective. Even as a management, people don't poach from each other, right? You know what I mean? Like we don't have it, I'll call someone. I'll call a manager at another management company, or they'll call me, or how do we work together? And so I think the collective good and having that empathy in this industry can really help. So for me, I think it's really about, working with good people. I want to be able to say, like, I'm speaking for Patrick, not here, but like most meetings that we have, I would say 90% of the time, 100% of the time, maybe 90, we cool people, we cool. Oh, Cultivate, oh, those guys are great. That's, granted, not everyone's gonna like you, right? But for the most part, we try to be above the board, and for us, it's how do you want to be remembered? That's this old saying my coach used to say, how do you want to be remembered? So I want to be remembered as someone that had empathy, worked my ass off, but also did good shit, or worked with good people.
Salute, my God.
Thank you so much for the gems, man.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you stopping by past podcast, brother.
Appreciate it.
Congratulations on everything you're doing.
Thank you.
This was incredible and insightful. And honestly, we're gonna have to do a number 2 because, as you stated earlier, like I glazed over a whole bunch of stuff. And I think hearing the details to how a person got to a pinnacle of success is important because success leaves clues, right? And you that's how, even where I am on my path, how I got here was by seeing someone where I wanted to be and finding out as much as I possibly could about that person and doing the same exact thing until the specific doors open for me. So thank you for taking time to share your path so that a listener or a viewer here can be like, okay, Sean did this. Sean is running his own company, so I'm gonna do the same thing so I can do the same thing.
Yeah. No, yeah, facts. And it just takes hard work. Definitely not gonna get handed to you. So there's like, you still gotta put the work in. You still gotta study. You still gotta know. To me, the biggest thing about the entertainment industry is knowing the business. A lot of actors don't know the business. They just, I'm a creative. Like that's always the notion. I'm a creative. It's like, oh yeah, but you know the business.
You need to know the business.
I know the business because your business is the business. You're LLC yourself. You know what I mean?
I agree with you 1,000%, and we'll go for a whole nother episode. But I'm gonna just wrap it up with this. I agree with you, and that's been, as the many conversations we've had, like my desire to be like, no, I want to learn everything at this point, because you reach to a certain point where it's like, I need to know the business. I have to know how this game is played in order to win. Like you said, beyond being a creative, it's like my mind just started expanding to new heights. So salute to you, man. All right.
Thank you,
my dog.
Appreciate you, brother.
Oh, man.
Appreciate you both.
There we go.